Good morning. This is Kara with the Ministry of Uncovering No More. I'm going to share with you how real quick before I head out, I'm going to share with you how I worship the faithfulness of my family in my life, my own faithfulness today. So I was faithful and am still remaining faithful to plant a whole bunch of herbs around here for my healing and my family's healing. Here's my hot tea, a quart of hot tea. I'll drink some of it hot, some of it cool. This is peppermint lemon balm. This goes with just peppermint for Curtis for the day. He sips it all day. Where's my daughter Dorothy Ann gave this to me. I'm going to put basil and start it soaking later today, and I have decided to replace the candle that I had here with that tea at least some nights. Basil, pure basil. It will sit here, cool down, and it'll be just perfect for basil tea as I'm heading towards relaxing. And this is the book I've got to start ingesting with artwork. There's my rune stones. That I have to be careful I have to remove the religion off of Smith Wigglesworth because he's not here with me evolving face to face. But he's here with me evolving in the spirit, if that makes sense. He would agree with me, I would agree with him. I would see to it, and so would he, because we understand what unity does. He's very much in the Christian world, but I could do that with a Buddhist. I could do that with a agnostic, atheist, mutt mix in America. I could do that with Bernie Sanders. I could do that with Michelle Obama, my daughter, and Edith Schaefer, both Ediths. But here's something I want to punt to you. I could do that more with a Buddhist than I could with a Wiccan. There's too much religion in American witchcraft, and it will tend towards dark. Oops. Okay, so let me conclude. These two tomatoes are probably the last two from my tomato bush that is, it was 2 tomato bushes that I'm forming a garden with out back. But I'm going to worship, again, my own faithfulness, the beauty of tomato land. I have 2 tomatoes that are ready to be enjoyed. We have decided, Curtis and I have decided, we eat differently than our kids. How many of you do that? You have teens, but you eat differently than them. Or we would die sooner. Us Gen X and late blooming baby boomers would die sooner. This is my mother's from her kitchen. I featured Mr. Basil last week. I did take two leaves from this and make the basil tea that's going here. But here's the little flower I talked about. Okay, it's still fresh. Herbs actually last longer. And I got this flower 2 days ago and just made a new little thing, some extra herbs. So again, this is all pagan worship that is appropriate. I had a tea light all day yesterday here. So I was just going to focus and tell you a story. Back in the day, when I was a child, my mother grew a beautiful garden. Here's some walkers. Isn't that wonderful? My mother grew a beautiful garden. And in Garland, Texas, we had a nice big yard. It was about the size, maybe a little larger than our backyard now. And she had a huge garden. We have privet hedges. we had privet hedge around a chain link fence. I'll be telling some stories about that chain link fence as it concerns these two people. Patrick and I had a good childhood. I need to tell those stories because, as you can tell, I just start laughing when I remember. These people had a good childhood too, and I still laugh when they come in and tell stories. So, I mean, seriously, look at that face. Okay, here's me. There's the privet hedge right there. And we have this grass too. It was winter, obvious, fall, winter. I loved that hat. Don't remember who gave it to me. But there, back here, back behind there, there was a huge garden. My mother couldn't grow a garden. And she would wait. She would wait until those huge beefsteak tomatoes were perfect, like already ripened perfectly on the vine. And she would have to guard them from the dogs, the poodles getting in the garden and eating them. Say good morning to the birds. And these puppies were so good. She would wait until it was perfect, and she would fix us the perfect hamburger. Handmade. I mean, this is the woman who sent homemade Velveeta cheese and homemade meatloaf sandwiches to my school lunch. And that was a high treat too. But this was for dinner, and those beefsteaks would fill the entire surface of the hamburger. And these were not small hamburgers. And she would slice, and I probably only got that maybe twice in my childhood because, you know, the timing of that is quite extensive. And, you know, women who stay at home are busy, y'all. Oh, my God. So, anyway, my tomatoes aren't as big or as pretty. But I can still cut this one, particularly this one, up to the part where it's, and put a little salt, have my little chicken salad and my nice fresh salad, and be in heaven again in Garland, Texas, and Manor. How does that sound today? So that's how I worship in the land of the living. Yes, I worship. Let's see, I talked about several of my daughters. This was not primarily about my sons, except for the male Basil. So I worship my children. I worship myself. I worship the very earth and the beauty in it. I worship these birds that are providing joy. But I am not idolatrous at all, period. Let's just go back to basics of the Bible, Buddhist and atheist, and to me. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Ain't no religion, world and time over, that didn't have that as a base. And if it didn't have that as a base, it is a worse cult than some of the better religions were. And we've got fascism in the United States of America to prove it. Now, I don't worship politics. I don't worship Republicans. I do worship Democrats. Excuse me. They've got the most giving spirit right now, so you can fuck off. 2 words. Bipartisan, we ain't got it. And unity, when you've got that Republican shit going on. Mitch McConnell, back at you. Get out of our lives. Oh my God. Okay. I'm glad I got that vitriol out. This is my father's desk. So I better straighten up my fucking attitude, because Dad's gonna take my head off in my head if I'm not careful. The joy of the Lord is my strength. And hail Buddha. Oh, okay, a mockingbird just came to say hi. That's probably Dad mocking me. Okay, I love y'all.